Hello and welcome to etbfsi.com. You're watching FinTech Diary, and my name is Amol Dete. In this episode of FinTech Diary, I don't have someone who's a founder of a FinTech company talking about the digital payments or specifically digital lending, which are the flavor of the season, but someone who's actually driving a major change in the whole finance space, or rather, a banking and finance and the whole BFSI space. And my guest for this chapter is Mr. BG Mahesh, who is the CEO of Sahamati. And the change that he's driving is specifically by running a non-profit alliance or a organization called Sahamati, which is specifically working for account aggregator. A new flavor of the season in the BFSI where people can share their data with consensually, and the BFSI companies can help them with the beautiful products. So Mahesh, glad to have you on this show.
So thank you, Amol. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you. I think the last time we invited you to Samvad event, and now it is you inviting us to actually speak to your listeners. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely, Mahesh. So the BFSI space, Mahesh, as a whole was very, very complicated. Half the people always said that, oh, it's so complicated. I don't understand, how to apply for loans. I don't know how to decode the insurance products. And half the time,
Yes.
the BFSI companies also found it difficult to sell their products. But with digital proliferation, things have been changing. And I learned, or specifically, I understand that account aggregator is going to make a major difference. The banks are going to go, high specifically with the loans because they will know where the customer is from. So it's been quite some time since account aggregator is actually there in the market. I understand
Yes.
from your website that more than 70 million people have already given the consensus. I just want you to
Yes.
tell us, where is the account aggregator now? In what shape it is? In what state it is?
So now, how about I start with the basics? I mean, I will, to actually set the context for your listeners also. So the ones who can participate in this account aggregator ecosystem, which is now also known as the digital public infrastructure. The only ones who can participate are the ones who are registered and regulated by one of the financial regulators, and also the GST is also part of it. Now we have about 150 financial information providers, what we call FIPs, are the ones from where you can share your data. Maybe it is the bank, your insurance, your GST, your portfolio about your MF investment, equity investment are all FIPs where you are able to share the data. And the FIUs are the ones who can consume the data to provide a financial service to you, but you can share only. They are able to get access to your information only with your consent. So the number of FIUs which are providing the service today to the thing is like about, I think, just a week ago, about 500 are already live as FIUs. Okay, so last week was an important milestone. So we have about 500 FIUs who are on the account aggregator ecosystem. They are providing it, and as you said, the number of people who have given consent is about 70 million. Of them have actually given, and every month the new consents which are given is about 10 million. Okay, every month. So it has been growing. Okay, it has been growing steadily, I would say. And it went officially live in September 2021. September 2021. And if you see from September 2021 to September 2023, using the account aggregator framework, the quantum of loans which were given out was about 20,000 crores, of which about close to 40%, I think it is 38 approximately, was for small businesses. Now this is an information we got by speaking to your top FIUs. Obviously, we have not spoken to everybody. So, but anyway, I think they form the bulk, of using the account aggregator ecosystem. Now, why is AA important? Okay, it's important. See, obviously, it is not simply to have one more DPI for the sake of having. Now, like as you said, there is a problem even for those who qualify for a loan. When you apply for a loan or you want to apply for insurance, the information they ask, when you have to share information, is very difficult. Even now, if I ask you to share, you'll be scrambling. Okay, for a simple thing, I ask you, for how much are you covered for with your health insurance? You'll not have that answer. Okay, right. So it should be solved technologically, scientifically, all of that. Right. So with account aggregator framework, you can share your financial data with your consent. The one seeking the data gets all the data in a machine readable format. It will have your digital signatures, so nobody can tamper with it. One important metric I want to give is all the FIUs have been formed as, especially lenders. The fraud rate from the bank statement has shrunk to 0. So these are the important things which we are already seeing in the account aggregator framework.
Sure, that was really meaningful, Mahesh, and I mean, it's really interesting to know that even 40%, loans, specifically the size of 23,000 crore, has been disbursed through, in fact, or with the facility of, the account aggregator model. When you ask people specifically to, share their data, are people, very open? Because you said that, there could be a challenge. Also, people might not share the data. How are you actually obtaining or extracting the data from the people? Have you made a template of the questions, or people are sharing the data that you want, or are they reluctant? Just give some data points on there.
So I think one thing I should actually clarify to everybody is, no data actually comes to Sahamati. Okay, we are only a cheerleader for this account aggregator system. We go to all the entities, policy makers, etc., to implement this account aggregator framework, which is from the Reserve Bank of India. So I want to assure that we don't get access to it. So the ones who are promoting on the ground with the customers are the financial institutions itself. So now, many of the lenders, the large NBFCs, and many of the digitally savvy, large banks, like when you apply for either an auto loan, your personal loan, etc., you will see that you have an option where they say that you can upload your statement, bank statement, or you choose an account aggregator, and they also say it is a RBI licensed entity, because you need to increase the trust. Because we know each other, you have heard about account aggregator, but if you go across, very few, which is fine in my opinion. There is no need in the initial years for the entire country to know, because it needs to scale, it has to be smooth. I mean, we have all those challenges which many have been solved. So the way it is being promoted today is from the FIUs, the entities which are providing this financial service. And as you can see, already 70 million concerns have been raised. It means all these people are familiar.
Right.
They were shown and they were comfortable. There will be drop-offs also. Many people may tell, I don't know what this is, I will upload. But all this will change. It is like in the early days of the UPI, not everybody was using. But now it is way of life. In few years, account aggregator will be the way of life to share your financial information.
Yeah, that's a very interesting line that you said, Mahesh. AA will be the way of life, like an UPI. Just to get more understanding here. So this particular availability of the data which is shared by the customers, or specifically the borrowers, or maybe the policy holders of insurance, is available only with the FIUs who are registered with you, right? This is how it works. Or any BFSI company who has to be a FIU first.
Yeah, so any entity which is registered and regulated by RBI, SEBI, insurance regulatory IRDA or PFRDA. Okay, you have licenses, like almost about 60 to 70 licenses.
Yes.
Okay, can automatically participate in the account aggregator ecosystem. There's no extra approval required.
Absolutely.
There's no paperwork.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's no paperwork. I mean, I think folks need to appreciate how the regulators have come up with this, all four regulators, and it is so smooth. They can automatically participate, completely the choice of the entity if they want to participate or not. But in my opinion, the ones who are providing the financial service, it will become mandatory to use AA, because the customer will demand, I want to share with you using AA only. It's like when you go out to a shop, to a large extent, you want to pay using the UPI, and you expect that UPI service to be offered by your bank. If a bank is not offering a UPI, you will move to another entity. Same thing you will see with account aggregator also happening.
So currently, I mean, we have maybe 30, 40 regulated entities in every sector. Maybe we have 50, 60 banks. If you look at just Indian banks, not the foreign one, large number of NBFC companies which are regulated, but insurance also 50, 60 or something like that. Are all these companies part of AA now, or couple of them?
Almost, yeah. I would say all the large entities are all like. I mean, all the 12 public sector banks, all the top private banks, all the the new digitally savvy banks, large NBFCs, like including the new age NBFCs are all out there. Okay, because like every day approximately 3 lakh consents every day are raised every day. Okay, and it is slowly growing also. Okay, and you will see that. I mean, there will be in few months, every day the number of concerns being raised will be 1 million. It will reach, okay, because there is a large section of the society who want access to small ticket size loans. Okay, but it is it won't make sense for even the lender to use the offline way to give them a loan, because the cost of processing that will be very high. Account aggregator will shrink that cost drastically. Okay, to give an example, a private bank, ran a pilot of AA in a showroom, in a branch, to give a car loan. End to end, they were able to do in half an hour. So 30 minutes. Okay, the borrower was able to submit the bank account statements. Okay, it was approved, it was digitally signed, and the money went, was dispersed by the borrower in 30 minutes. So what we call the TAT, the turnaround time, okay, especially in this digital age where we have zero patience for anything, okay, right? So the TAT becomes important. Okay, and all this digital or public infra in India, which we are leading from the front in the world, I should say. Each layer, whether Aadhaar, UPI, ONDC, AA, I mean, each one is, is scaling a lot. And you will see the TAT improves, okay, drastically from all our DPIs.
Absolutely. I copy you, Mahesh. And so on one part, obviously, I learned and I copy you that the turnaround time has been, what you can say, reduced. Specifically, the cost of perhaps operations and onboarding customer may have also been reduced.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But tell us more about, are the BFSI companies reaching out to more customers now, or they are still, putting up or catching up in the same pie? Because ultimately, the MSME, the small ticket that you sometimes mentioned, those are also the targets of the banks.
Yes.
And, to reach out to them. So is AA kind of helping them to reach out to these customers as well, apart from the 2-3 benefits that
I would say it would be both. I think among the existing user base who they serve, okay, all of them, they are being exposed to AA. Okay, and the way it is being used by by them has increased these customers.
Right.
And now they're able to go to MSMEs also because you can get GST data, from AA. Okay, you are able to, you were always able to get, you are able to get the GST data using GSP. But the account aggregator gives you a facility. The BFSI entity speaks only to AA and says, I want the statement, bank statement, I want GST, I want the policy, I want the portfolio. You go and do whatever you have to do, the weight lifting to go to all these entities and bring it back to me. Okay, instead of they going to each of them. So it is happening, and as GST, went live 8-9 months ago, and it has improved. The uptake of that has increased. I'm seeing the lending amongst MSME. It has increased. Yes, obviously we have a lot more work to do because we need to, I would say, example, we need to go to the industrial parks and meet the MSMEs, which Sahamati has to do. Our job is to spread the word, increase the awareness of the AA and say that the only way you should agree to share your financial information should be AA, and you can do that sitting in your factory. So no need to go and, actually go to actually the branch and wait. You have so many banks, where you're able to, apply for a loan using AA. So it increases their efficiency also. They sit at work, they're able to apply for the loans and, you continue whatever work they're doing.
Quite meaningful, Mahesh, and I think you have been explained the whole AI structure in detail. Maybe last one or two important questions now,
Sure.
Mahesh. The whole world is looking at India and specifically India's DPI, as a runway, and they are looking at adopting DPI, in their own countries. What kind of scope do you see specifically for AI, in a foreign countries? Because I see there are some talks also. A couple of foreign countries are also looking at embracing this model.
See, it is natural for anyone to look at India, each
Right.
of the DPIs, and now the account aggregator framework also, mainly because AA is not about open banking, it's about open finance, because it is across all kinds of financial data. So
Hmm.
no country has implemented in across all kinds of data at such a large scale.
Hmm.
Okay, see, then which one more information which I didn't give, the number of accounts which have gone live on AA to share the data
Hmm.
is close to 2 billion accounts, of which 1.5 billion accounts are from banks. See,
Hmm.
no other country has done it. Now, of course, no other country has so many accounts, but the beauty of the Indian DPI is each of them have been built for population scale, which means if it can work for such a large population, it will work in anywhere else in the world,
Absolutely.
anywhere else in the world. So now, yeah, few countries have approached us already to learn
Hmm.
about what we do. But then I think you might have heard that actually in Bangalore, you do have an entity called Center for DPI,
Yeah.
whose main task is to actually spread the word implementation of the DPIs, not AA alone, all the DPIs across the world. So we do it on our own, but we also work with them, CDPI in Bangalore, okay, to spread this word. Because you see, very few have they are very few have understood about how India works. We don't want to own things. We are very happy to share our learnings and what we have, okay, with any part of the world by which they actually benefit. We don't have walls. It's all open source. So I don't know if any other country is there in the world which is so open about sharing all their your technological products.
Right.
And even people who talk to us, we don't charge them because we want people to benefit at large.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the whole made in India, kind of should
Yes,
happen in digital also. And the DPI
yes.
has that caliber, and the world is looking at it very aggressively. One more question, Mahesh, since we are talking in a FinTech Diary show. what is it there for the fintechs? I mean, you have been doing innovation, regulators are doing an innovation. What is there for the fintech specifically with AI? Because this is, I understand, for more for the regulated entities, and not many fintechs are regulated entities.
So for me, specifically the fintechs who are already involved in account aggregator, we call them technology service providers.
Right.
Okay, so we are already having about 70 of them who are involved with Sahamati, who are our members. And I have openly acknowledged in all forums, if not for the technology service providers, and of course, these entities who were forward thinking and they were open to think, account aggregator would not have taken off. So the fintechs, especially the technology service providers, have played a very, very crucial role in the implementation of the account aggregator, framework. So I'm saying it is not required always for you to be in the front. Okay, even if you're in the back, if you're in the background, and you are powering actually the DPI by which people are benefiting, the entire country is benefiting. I think that you have done your duty.
Certainly. And last point specifically, Mahesh, is again, the data protection bill is still not out, but soon there are high chances that the bill will be out, and we do not know in what shape will it be. But do you see maybe some, or how do you see the significance impact specifically on account aggregator once the data bill comes in?
Yeah. So now it is not the bill anymore. Now it is already in the act. So it's the DPDP Act. Okay, but now we are waiting for the specific rules. The rules have to come out. It had to come out, I think, in the month of Feb or March. But then we read in the media, we will be able to see the rules, or it will be released only after only after June, in view of the Lok Sabha election. Now, the principles of the DPDP Act is that an explicit consent has to be shown to the data principal, means the owner of the data. It should specify the purpose for what the data is being shared, for what a period of time it will be used, what we call the data life, and any consent, active consent, should be revocable. So those principles are already there in the account aggregator framework from day one. So I don't see anything in a large way changing. But once the rules are out, for sure, we will have to read not only every clause, but every sentence in between the sentences to see what impact it will actually have on AA. And also, if you are able to, on Sahamati website, we have a video on the impact of DPDP on the account aggregator framework. I encourage people to, actually see the blog and the video.
Sure, Manish. Sure, Mahesh. I think that was truly insightful, and thanks for sharing all that. We wanted to know about account aggregator.
Well, thank you, Amol. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for watching FinTech Diary on etbfsi.com.